All right, everybody, welcome. We are going to take a look at how to do the learning tutorials inside of Premiere Pro. If you do not have the learning tutorials available immediately, if you are inside of a project, you can see at the top here it says Learning. If you click on that, it will open up these tutorials here on the side. If you don't have that option, if you go to Help, you will see that there is Premiere Pro in-app tutorials. If you click that, it will bring up this side panel over here. One thing I do want to point out is they have Premiere Pro online tutorials, and those actually provide a lot of other help. We might get to some of those this year, just because I want to make sure everybody is solid with their use of Premiere Pro. But once you're in the Learning tab and you have these options here, the first thing I want you to do is click on the Premiere Pro Overview. The Premiere Pro Overview is going to acquaint you with the layout of Premiere Pro. And this first section here, you can see that this is talking about panels. The Premiere Pro interface is organized into areas called panels. I'm not going to read all of this to you, but what I want you to get out of this is and understand that there will be a quiz and or a test on this. The main thing I want you to take away is the understanding of what the project panel, the source monitor panel, the program monitor panel, and the timeline panel are. And you can see a description there of what those things do. But let's talk about them real quick. The first thing here is we'll just go in the order that they have it. That's going to be the project panel. That's going to be the window on the bottom left. Normally you won't have this area in the side, so you will have this here. This is the project panel. Everything that you're going to use to edit will be inside of this panel. All of those are called assets. And you see that right here. They call it, where we go, media assets. So media assets include clips that you shoot. That's going to be video and audio. It includes audio files, so if you record a voiceover, if you are importing music, if you have sound effects, natural sound, whatever it is. If you create graphics, still images that you're going to put into your project, all of those things are considered media assets. When you go to create text inside of Adobe Premiere, that creates a new file that becomes an asset. So everything that you're using to create your production is an asset. That is all housed, again, under the project panel. The next one that they have listed is going to be the source monitor panel, and that is this workspace area here. And that is where you will go to be able to preview the clips. You can see the whole clip, the way it was shot there. You can also set rough in points and out points so that you can get started with an assembly edit where you just kind of put everything down there and then you go back and make your edits beyond that point. The next panel is going to be the program monitor panel, and that is this area. This is where you will see your actual video coming to life. Everything that you add, excuse me, everything that you add to the timeline is going to be in this. So all of your sound, all of your graphics, all of your video, all of that will show up here in the program, and this is what your audience is going to be watching. And then the last thing that they have is the timeline panel, and the timeline panel is this right here, down at the bottom. It is highlighted now in blue. This is where we will put our sequence together, and we'll arrange everything and be able to actually go in and edit that. So that is the panels. This actually goes, if you click next on this, goes into a demonstration of how you can adjust the panels. So I'm going to take a minute to go over that with you. It's really just as simple as resting the mouse between panels and clicking and dragging. So if you do that, you can adjust the size of these. What you are doing will determine the size of the panel that you may want. If you're doing a multi-layer, 10-layered video, you may want your timeline to be a little taller, so you can actually come to this area and click this and drag that up to make your timeline so that you can see it more. If you hover right in the middle, you can adjust this that way. It's really click and drag to get the looks that you want. You can also take things out. So, excuse me again. Where we have this thing that says get started, if you zoom in on that, anytime you see these 3 lines, you know you have more options there. So if you click that, you can actually undock the panel, which means that now this is its own floating window. I can move this anywhere that I want to. So what I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to actually click on the text for that, and I'm going to put it back where it was because I don't want to be confused. The way that I'm going to put it back is when I get there and I see the purple, like I see the area where it's purple, I'll let that go. It's going to pop into that area. If you don't like the space, you can delete something. If you don't like the media browser, you can just go here and close that panel. So now you don't have to worry about the media browser. I usually have the project panel and the effects panel open when I am editing, but that is that's going to be entirely up to you. Now, if I want this to go back, I can go to Learning and click Reset to Saved Layout. And that's not just Learning. Under Editing, if I were to go there and click Reset to Saved Layout, it would put everything back to the way it was. So we closed the media browser, so I'm going to click this, Reset to Saved Layout, and now our media browser is back. So if you can't find something, go up to the 3 lines, click that, and then click Reset to Saved Layout, and it should put everything back to the way that Adobe Premiere is used to it being. All right, so that is how you do this. That's an introduction to the Premiere Workspace. And we are finished with the Premiere Pro overview. Let me know if you have questions about this. All right, congratulations. You completed the Premiere Pro overview. You got your check mark. Good stuff. Now let's move on to the Learn the Basics tab here. If you hover over that, you will see the Continue Here button. So I'm going to click that, and it will open up a tutorial series for us. I've done this. I've actually gone through this several times, so I need to go in and reset this whole thing, but I'm going to go ahead and just click back at the top, Importing Media, and I'm going to go through this whole thing with you. You are going to do this with me today, step by step. If you are not with me in class, you do need to do this because at the end of this, you will create a video that you will need to upload. So, what I want you to do is understand the importance of importing media. Again, media, those are going to be your assets that you need to create your project. But before you begin, this tells you to take a look at the project in its final state so you have a better idea of what you'll create. Then it tells you to press play in the Program Monitor to preview what you'll be making. So if you hover over this, you can see that the Program Monitor is the monitor in the top right. We know that that is the Program Monitor because we talked about that in the overview section. It also tells us that that's program right there, and we know that this is a play button. So I'm going to click the play button, and this is going to play back. Now, there is actually music here. I have it muted for the sake of this tutorial, but when you do this, you will hear music. We see the music right here. We also, when we play it, we see it over here in our VU meter. That's our audio levels, and the music stopped. So there's no more bouncing of the green. So that is the Program Monitor panel, and we were able to preview what we are going to be making. So if you will now click Next down in the bottom left. That will make some changes. When it says Save Changes, just click Yes. Now, it says Importing Video Clips. The project has been reset, and now you see that there is no media in our project panel. The first step of any Premiere project is to import the files that you'll be working with. They are called clips. So let's see what we're doing. Double click in the center of the project panel, which is, yes, the bottom left, and where it says Import Media to Start. And that will launch a Finder window. So right here, what does it say? Import Media to Start. I'm going to double click. I didn't double click. Oh, I did. All right, I got it. And then it says select any 3 files and click Open Import. So if you want to preview a file, just single click on it. Just click it one time and then hit the space bar. And that will allow you to preview the clip. Let's see. I will just take this one, and this one. And I'm going to click Import. Now, when I do that, it tells me, success, you did what you're supposed to do. Look in the project panel, you should see 3 new video files, which I do, all right. And then I can use those to actually create my project. To do that, I'm going to click Next. It's going to go to the next step where it allows me to preview those clips. Before you start, you want to preview the source monitor panel. That's going to be this space right here. So double click any of the clips in the project panel. So back in my project panel, I'm going to double click on this clip. And it says I should now see that clip in the source monitor panel. So I'm going to hit play at the bottom. And I am able to preview that clip. If I hit it from the beginning, I'll see the whole thing there. So I am now watching that entire clip. Once I've done that, it will give me a check mark to let me know that I was successful in the task they have given me, and I'm then going to click Next. So that was importing media. The next thing I want to do is click Preparing your clips for editing. Again, when you are doing this, you should not have the check marks there because you have not done this, unless you're going back and doing it again. So now I'm going to click Preparing your clips for editing. Do I want to save changes? I'm just going to click OK to save. And now, adding clips to the timeline. All right, so here's our timeline panel. So what this is telling me is to select clips 1, 2, and 3 in the project panel by holding down Command and clicking each one. So if I click this clip, and then click this clip, and then click this clip, I'm only selecting the one that I click on. If I hold down Command on the keyboard, it will select all 3 of these clips. Now they're all gray, they have all been selected. If I'm like, oh, okay, I like this clip, and I like this clip, but I don't like this clip, I can hold Command to deselect one of these clips. But I've now done that, and I'm going to drag and drop the files from the project panel here to the timeline panel here onto the area marked dropped media here to create sequence. So I'm just going to click that. I'm going to drag them over into this empty space, and I'm going to let that go. When I do that, good stuff. I was successful. It wants to point out the fact that you should now have a 4th file in your project panel. So we do. All right, these were our clips, 1, 2, 3. Now we have a sequence down here. So just to make sure you understand the difference, this is a clip. You see how it is a video file and an audio file? That is a clip. This is a clip. This is a clip. This is a sequence. This shows multiple clips edited on top of each other. That is the difference in terms of the icons. So if you can't find your sequence that you were working with, then you will need to look there. This is a big deal because if you accidentally close your timeline, if you close your sequence over here, then you won't know exactly what you're working with. So I'm going to look and say, oh, okay, this is my sequence because that's the sequence icon, even though it is called Clip 2. Clip 2 is also called Clip 2, so that's a little confusing. You could actually come in here and you could change the name of this to sequence. I'm not going to change it because of the fact that this is a Premiere Pro project and I don't want to change it. It's their tutorial project. Let me be specific. So I don't want to change that. But what I do want to do is double click and that will open that back up in our timeline. So that is how to import media into Premiere and now to start building a sequence. Let's click Next. All right, so let's take a look at our video and audio tracks. Your clips now are sitting in the sequence, which we have here, in the timeline panel. These horizontal areas are called tracks. You can see the tracks, right? This is V1, V2, V3. That's video 1, 2, 3. In audio, we've got audio 1, 2, 3, and we can add more and more to both of those. Excuse me. So what is it asking me to do? It's very important that we understand how to navigate these things. So click on the timeline panel, which I have, to make it active. You know it's active when it has the blue line around it. I hit the space bar on accident. Space bar is going to play your clips, just so you'll know. So I'm going to click on the timeline panel to make it active, and then I'm going to use the equals key and the, let's keep hitting the space bar. Keep the equals key, and I'm going to use the minus key, which really, if you look at it, it's not equals. There's a plus on there. So there's a plus and minus key beside each other on the top row next to the numbers. If you click down here and you click the plus or the equal sign, you'll notice that that is changing the zoom level of our project. So if I hit the minus, it's going to zoom out, so I can see more of my project at once. If I press the plus, it's going to zoom in, which is going to zoom out, but it allows me to see specifically into a certain part of the timeline so that I can do some very exact editing. Also, if you use command and hit those same keys, it will actually make this track bigger or larger. So I'm going to hold down command and hit the plus, and you can see every time I do that, it makes it larger, and you can actually, you can actually see the clip here. You can see what's on that clip a little bit better. So we've done that. So you're going to need to be able to do that to help you sometimes. You can also click on those and drag the edges of the track. Same thing here for audio. If you click that and drag it down. And I honestly, I expand my audio tracks more than I do my video tracks because I want to see my sound. I can see the clip easily. It's right here. I see the video right there. But sometimes I want to see sound, so I can go in and make specific edits at specific points. And I can see those points visually when we have a waveform. Right now, there's nothing here, so you can't really see that. But if there were sound there, this blue line would be up and down, be all wiggly. All right, so we've done that. So now I'm going to click Next. And now that we have done that, let's click Editing. And it's asking, do we want to make the changes? I'm going to click Yes. And now let's see what we're doing. So this is talking about how to move around the sequence. It says, you'll notice that they added music. So here is the music file. And just like I told you, you can see the sound in here. Okay, these spikes is going to be the beat of the music. It's going to be where you hear something. So just pay attention to things like that when you edit. If I'm still down here and I hit the plus or the equals key, you can see it zoom in, and it's a little easier even to see that. Also, we didn't talk about zooming using the scroll bar here at the bottom. You can use this to scroll through your sequence. But if you click the edges of it, you can use it to zoom in. I always like to have my sequence fill the entire available space here in my timeline while I'm working, unless I need to zoom in on an area, and then I just take this and zoom in. But for the most part, I like to be able to see the whole thing, but that's just a personal preference. So you will see now, if you hit the space bar in the sequence, it will start to play the sequence, which I demonstrated on accident several times. Again, this has music. We can see that the VU levels here, they are going up and down, so we see that there is actually music there. All right, if I press the space bar again, that is going to stop playing that sequence. You can also grab the playhead. The playhead is the vertical blue line. We've talked about this before, so if I hold down command, you can see this is my playhead. It's the line that goes up and down throughout this. There is also a playhead here in the source panel. It's just not as long of a line, but it is the same thing. And then this playhead and this playhead are the same. So if I drag this one, that one moves. Those are connected. So you want to make sure you understand that whatever this playhead is touching is what you're seeing in the program or what you're hearing in the program monitor panel. So if you want to drag and move quickly, you can click the playhead and actually drag it around. When you do this, this is called scrubbing. It is a very useful thing to know. You need to be able to scrub through your video at times. So that is that. Let's click next. All right, so how do you move clips? So after reviewing your sequence, let's think your movie would look better if you swap clips 2 and 3. So let's talk real quick about why we want to swap those before we do it. If I play this, you will notice when I play this, when it goes from clip 1 to clip 2, that's kind of jerky. Like right there to there, it's really awkward. That's because when the continuity is broken, she's moving here and she's over on the bottom right frame and she's a little smaller. And then here, all of a sudden, she is filling more of the frame on the left side and she is still. That is called a jump cut. So it's a continuity error, but also those shots are too similar. You'll notice the mountain here, like the mountains really aren't changing much. And so because of that, if you change, like if you cut between two shots, your audience is going to be like, wait, whoa, what just happened? Now, they're not going to say that, but that's what's happening in their mind, is they're going to try to figure out why there was a break there. That is called a jump cut. In order to avoid that, you just put two shots together that are not similar. In this case, this shot does not look like either of these two shots. So what this is telling us is to swap clip 2 and clip 3. So what we're going to do is hold down Command and click and drag clip 3 over clip 2. So now, I don't know if how the verbiage is here, but if I were to take this and it says to drag it over, I think what they really want you to do in this case is to actually click on it and hold down Command and drag it over this clip, all right? Like actually on top of that clip. So when I let go, it is now replacing clip 2 with clip 3. It doesn't have any gaps in the space. It just took this one, it took clip 2, moved it down, and then put this clip right there in its place. There are lots of other things that we can do. That is a basic way to replace a clip there. So we did an insert edit, all right? That is an insert edit. So that is a very important thing. It says here, if you don't hold down Command, you'll just replace the part of clip 3 covered by clip 2. So I'm going to hit Command Z. Command Z undoes things here. So if I were to just take clip 3, just leaving it here, you see right now, this is where clip 2 ends. If I were to take clip 3 and put it there, the end point did not change. So what that means is all we did was delete the part of clip 2 that is at this point. So we didn't want to do that. So we want to make sure that we hold down Command, click, and then drag, and that is going to allow us to insert. Oops, I guess I wasn't hitting the button. I'm going to hold Command, drag it, and then let go, and then I guess I have broken Premiere. Command, drag, there we go. So make sure you're holding Command before you click on the clip. So if you're having an issue with that, like I was right then for some reason, make sure you do that. So now we've done that and everything has moved down and the video is the right length. I'm going to hit Next. And this is how to trim clips. So the clips have been reset to the correct order, so which is what we set it as. Another common reason to edit your clips is because they're too long. This is going to be trimming, all right? We are going to trim the edges of our clip. You can trim either side of the clip. You can either trim the head or the tail of the clip. For this, move your cursor to the end of clip 2, all right? This is clip 2. until it changes from a black arrow to a red and left facing trimming icon. So I'm going to move over, and there, changed to a black and red arrow, and it's facing left. Now click and drag your cursor slowly until the end of the clip reaches the playhead at the 15-second mark. So we've got that. Well, the playhead is not at the 15-second mark anymore, but you do see that there's a green marker here. So that's telling us where we are needing to get to. So that is that. I have done that successfully. I have trimmed my video. Now I'm going to click Next. So this is where we get to actually practice all of this. So we're going to click Next. And now I'm going to leave this part to you. You are going to do the editing challenge. So what do you need to do? You need to take your audio and figure out how to make your audio the same length as your video. If you get stuck on that, you can click on any of these hints to help you. Let me know when you get to that point. All right, hopefully you figured that out. If you did not, really the simplest way to do this is to just take your mouse down to the end of the audio clip till you get the trim to the left tool, and then click and then drag that down. There's other ways to do it. We will get into some of the other ways to do that, but for now, that is sufficient. So we did it. It's telling me next, so I'm going to go ahead and click that. Now it is time to do exporting. So let's export our project content. So click here. Do I want to save the changes? I'm just always going to click yes. And now it has opened up a window for us to be able to export. So in this tutorial, you will export your movie using some basic HD settings. All right, HD is high definition. So we want to make sure that we are always exporting in high definition. The way that you do this is by clicking on the timeline panel, which is already selected down here, and you're going to hit Command M on the keyboard. That is going to open the export window. All right, so the export settings dialog box technically is a pretty daunting interface if you don't know what you're doing. For us, it's always going to be pretty simple. You're going to click H.264. So if you go to Format, choose H.264, not H.264 Blu-ray. So H.264. And then for preset, we always do in class match source attributes high bit rate, but this is telling us over here to use match source attributes medium bit rate. So we're going to say match source medium bit rate. And then we want to actually change the name and tell the computer where to put this. This is currently titled My Sequence, and the reason it is because when we opened up this new project, it did not change, it did not keep the name Clip 2, so it changed it to My Sequence. What I want you to do for this is to click on that, and that is going to open up a Finder window where you can tell this where to save. So for this project, I want you to just go to Desktop. You can do it as My Sequence and then space, and then I want you to put your first and last name. So My Sequence and then Josh Dempsey. Now I'm going to hit Save. And again, this is going over here on the sidebar. I've selected Desktop. So I'm going to click Save. And now I always click the Use Maximum Render Quality. For this, you don't have to worry about it, but I always check this box. You might as well do it. Get in the habit. And now click Export. That is going to export your video. It tells you it was successfully exported to the desktop. If you want to check that, which I recommend that you do, if you minimize Premiere, you can see that My Sequence went to the desktop. So that is good. All you have to do to preview it, click on it one time, don't double click, and then hit spacebar. And that will open your file so that you can preview it. Going back into Premiere, let's see what else. We've gone through and done all of this, so we're good there. Now I'm going to click Next, and we have gone through the tutorial. There is another thing that I want you to be able to do before you turn this in today, and we will start that here in just a moment. Okay, so now that you have gone in and created your video, you've exported the test video, what I want you to do now is we're actually going to create a title. This is not a part of the tutorial, so I'm going to close out the Learning tab by leaving the Learning workspace, and I'm going to go all the way over to the Graphics workspace. So you've got the workspaces up at the top, Learning, Assembly, Editing, Color Effects, Audio, and then I'm going to click Graphics. And when I click Graphics, you'll notice it changed the little layout. It gives us a thing over here called Essential Graphics. Under Essential Graphics, there is, if you go to Browse, there are a lot of different templates that you can use. We can worry about that some other time. But for now, I want you to click Edit. When you click Edit, there's nothing there until you create it. So we're going to click that, and then we're going to go to this where it says New Layer. Click that, and then click Text. Once it has created your text, you'll see that my text is right there. I am going to click inside of that text. I'm going to double click, and I'm going to say my name, or I'm going to type my name. And I can't see it all on the screen, right? So what I can now do is if I click Align, this will put my name right there in the center. I don't want it there, so I'm going to go back, I'm going to hit Command A, and now I'm actually going to come in using this tool right here under the text panel. I'm going to adjust the size of my font down to something that I'm happy with. So I'm just going to set mine to 30, hit Enter, and then I'm going to change the font style. I don't want it to be that. Let's just say I used Gill Sans. Sans, not going to get into sans right now. So I've got this font there, or got this text on the screen. If I click the arrow, I can now click on this and drag it wherever I want it to be. So let's just say that I put it right down here in the corner. Now, one thing that you'll need to know is putting things in the corner like that is not necessarily a great idea. So if I click it, I'm going to bring it up a little bit. You always want to have some space on the sides of that. And that looks okay, but let's just say I wanted to dress this up. I actually wanted to put a text or a solid shape behind it so that this stands out a little more. I can go back up here to the New Layer button, and now I'm going to choose a rectangle, and it defaults to gray, but if I come to Appearance and then to the Fill area, I'm just going to make mine black for now. You can make yours any color you want to. And then I'm going to drag that down to where my name is. And that's problematic because you can't see my name. That's because the black layer is on top of the text layer. So if you click up here, drag this and pull it under, that's now on top of that. So what I want to do is just kind of keep moving this so that it is there. And you can play with this, make it however you want it to. But what I also want to do is, while I'm selected on the shape layer, is actually come and lower the opacity on that so that I can see through a little bit. I'm going to make it, we'll say 70%. So you can see through a little bit, but you can also see my name really well. So I've got that. I'm just putting that in the corner. This is very basic, but it is acceptable. So take this clip, go to Graphics, create a title, put your name on top of it. And then, using that export shortcut, you're going to hit Command M. I'm going to click back on that. And then I'm going to click Format, H.264, Preset, Medium Bitrate, Match Source Medium Bitrate. And then where it says Output Name, click on that. And then this, where you did your first sequence here, click My Sequence, and then your name should already be there. It changes it to that. Click Save. And it's going to say, wait, that already exists. Do you want to replace it? Yes. I'm going to click Replace. And now I'm going to click Use Maximum Render Quality, and now click Export. And then it's going to say, wait a second, that already exists. So it's asked me twice, which is probably a good thing. Do you want to replace it? So now I'm going to click Yes. And once I do that, it is going to encode my sequence. It has successfully exported. If I hit Command H on the keyboard, Premiere hides, and now I can see if this is my new video, and it is. You can see my name, and there we go. You will turn this in to Schoology. Under the Get to Know You section, there is a new assignment in there for you, so you will turn this into Schoology today. Please let me know if you have questions.